I'll start off by saying, man, dude, this game is an effing nightmare.
It is.
This is freaking. Oh my gosh, pretty much what you were just saying here. So, if you want to touch on the graphics, from what you can see from the footage, this is a next gen game.
Yeah,
totally. Everything is really detailed. It looks like a next gen game. The graphics, I don't think they didn't cut any corners here.
No. I think the graphics are. I feel like they're solid. Like I played it. I still have a PS3. I haven't upgraded yet because I'm poor. But when I played it, I think they were. It's to be expected. They were fine though. Like I don't think there was no. They still had some nice details, but I mean, obviously, I feel like they could. There's some things that could have been a little bit better, but overall, I think they were solid.
The other thing I wanted to bring up is that they really matched the aesthetic of the film, right?
Oh my God, that's the thing about this. One thing about the art style is what I'll say is like they really got that tone, and they really captured like H.R. Giger's like style and like as far as like with the xenomorph and even like when you first go to the Sevastopol, you start on the ship, the Torrens, and the Torrens looks exactly like the Nostromo, like inside and out. From where like the sleep chambers are to like the med bay, like it's the exact thing. But usually, but there's a reason for that. It's because the Nostromo and the Torrens are the same model, which I think was kind of like a nice, little aesthetic to put in there, but they really hit it with like the lighting. And everything like that, and just the overall art style is just fantastic.
Right. So it's supposed to be scary. So that's a good point too with the lighting and the way things look. Yeah, it puts you in there, and it definitely gets it succeeds in that goal. So the sound. Let's hit the sound real quick. Now, I would actually argue that the sound is accountable for about 70% of the atmosphere in this game. Like
it is.
The sound, like everything is complete. Like, dude, everything like is designed to just scare the shit out of you and make you jump. Like you'll just hear random banging and shit. You can hear the alien in the vent.
You don't know. That's the thing. Yeah, like you don't know when you hear bang. You're like, wait, is that the alien?
The station's falling apart, so it's just shit like exploding and like just stuff happening all the time.
I remember there was a part where you're going through like a security system, and it was like spraying this type of fog, like almost tied to like I can't describe it, but like the noise was so.
There were a couple areas like that.
Yeah, the noise was like so loud, like you would think just to like it was, intentionally just to scare the shit out of you, and it works like because like you were saying, like you'll just hear these random bangings throughout the vent. You're like, is that it? Is that it? And here
it comes.
I mean, there is a distinct sound when you know it is coming, and after a while, when you do, because the game is like 20 hours, like when you get to, like you know the sound, but the sounds still scare you after a while, like throughout the whole entire game. But which is another thing that bothered me. Like a lot of people were like, "Well, you kind of get used to it." I feel like I never got used to the intensity.
No way.
The intensity. Like, yeah, like people were saying that, like, oh, you kind of just get used to, you kind of get bored after a while because it's the same thing.
Dude.
Yeah. Like, oh my God, there's so many times I was like this or stuff like this. And I don't know if you knew this or this happened to me. Like one time I took my I can't even think of the name. I can't even talk today.
The motion tracker?
Yeah, the motion tracker.
I was just thinking that you raise the thing up?
Raise the thing up, and
he can freaking hear that.
He can hear it, and he grabbed. I was in like one of the
you can't do that. He's too close.
One of the lower storage spaces, and I was like, oh shit, he's right there. And I couldn't visibly see him, but I knew he was around. And I put the thing up, and all of a sudden he starts screaming, and he rips the door open, and he kills me. And I was like, damn it. But yeah, the game is like. Yeah, intense as hell.
We should touch on that.
It is scary.
We should touch on that in a minute. But yeah, the lockers and dude, any of the hiding places are a death trap, dude. Like I figured that out later, and people on GAF were talking about that too. They said, don't do it, don't go in the
They help you. You gotta know when you when to use them, obviously. But I mean, there's one enemy I really want to talk about is the working Joes.
Yeah, let's wrap up sound real quick.
Okay.
So just because like I said, like easily 70% of the atmosphere, like it just does not let up, and like they definitely nailed it on that completely. Like that is like
they just really got a good job as capturing that atmosphere, like you said.
What I was seeing was not even scary. It was just like the friggin' sound in this game will friggin' scare the living shit out of you. So that's if you're gonna talk about this game, then sound has to be part of the conversation for sure, because that was just insane. So yeah, okay, let's go into the gameplay. Yeah, seriously, like, and I don't play a ton of horror games, but I've played the popular ones.
Yeah.
Right? There hasn't been one since Silent Hill 2 that has really screwed with me.
Really?
Since this one, yeah, like Silent Hill was messed up, and then I think Silent Hill 4 to a lesser extent. I mean, any of the Silent Hills.
Yeah.
But this Silent Hill 2 stood out. But then this one, like, oh man, like I don't know, like this one was like, I played it. We talked too. I played it on hard, so I was up against.
Oh my god! And this game is
more difficult.
This game is so difficult.
But that coupled with the atmosphere, like, forget it. Like this game, like that's why I said at the beginning. This game is an effing nightmare.
Yeah, if you're, I don't know if you. I mean, it's been out. As we're recording this, it's been out for about a little over a week now. So if you haven't played, and you do, you are going to die a lot.
And
like
have nightmares about it afterwards.
Yeah. But yeah, it's showing these working Joes right now, so I want to move on to those. These guys are also stressful because when they see you, you have to break its line of sight, which it is fairly easy to do. But if they catch you, because a lot of times you're in small corners, essentially, to me, I found like that I was dying a lot from that because, like, yeah, like that QTE will come out, but there's some spots where a bunch of them will come out and try to attack you.
Yeah, and if you're low on health, like,
like
there were times where they would box me in. Like, I'd be in a room and like I'd get two of them coming from, like, if there's two ways into the room, I'd have them in both doorways, and it's like, oh, okay, great, one of them's gonna grab me. Now what? Now okay.
Yeah. See, like, I don't know if you can, it just keeps going. It's like, you have to break its line of sight. And I don't know if
those things are freaking pain. The one thing I found that worked is that I would use the stun baton and then club the living shit out of them with the freaking wrench.
But the thing is, you don't get the bolt gun until way later. And then... Yeah. And that's not after.
We should point that out because there's a model of these guys later that are way more difficult than the other ones, and usually you can use an EMP or the stun baton to like slow them down, and then you can friggin' club them, or you can use a different weapon on them. But they're not unless there's a whole bunch of them, they're manageable. They're just friggin' scary as shit because they come at you like the friggin' Terminator.
Yeah. Oh my god.
And then later, there's ones that wear hazmat suits that friggin'
those
EMP
are
and the electricity attacks. It doesn't do anything.
Those are more like the Terminator because you will, you get the flamethrower, and when you kind of use the flamethrower on the guys with the hazmat suits, they nothing unless you have the bolt gun. These guys, those working Joes are unstoppable. So like I said, like. You'll use the flamethrower on them, and they'll just keep walking towards you, and they'll grab you.
So it's at that point, it's either waste all your ammo, and try and shoot them and take them down, or the other thing I found works is if you can pipe bomb them. But the pipe bombs cost so many resources that I only had a couple of them at a time, so I'd be able to take out one of them. But yeah, that one spot you're talking about. Like, you just have to deal with a whole bunch of them, and it's like, okay, so the pipe bomb's only going to work on, like, one or two, and there's still three of them coming at you.
Yeah.
So, this is a good point, too. You probably noticed in the footage. So, switching back to the alien, like, eventually you get the flamethrower, and at least then you have a chance. Because
there's definitely some times where I was like, especially near the end of the game, where I was like, screw it, I don't care if it sees me because I have this flamethrower, I'm just going to use it on him.
Yeah, so if he sees you, you can use the flamethrower on him. Sometimes, and I've heard he adapts, so if you overuse it, he'll just come kill you anyways, but I don't know how true that is. The flamethrower worked most of the time for me.
It worked most of the time for me. I know sometimes where I would use it on him, And usually, what's supposed to happen is if you use it on him, he scrambles away and goes up into the vents. But there would be some instances where when I would use it, he would just stand there, wait for me to stop using it, and then come attack me.
Yeah, and it burns through the fuel for that thing really quick.
Yeah.
Too.
Oh, so you have to conserve on those to make sure you're kind of sparing them, and like I said, and like you're conserving all that fuel. But yeah.
So yeah, there's plenty of terrifying shit going on here.
Definitely.
I did have a couple of things that I thought were kind of. I mean, this is an excellent game, but there was a couple. I mean, the point is to scare the shit out of you and to not really let up. But there's some things where like I've seen people speculating about how like the alien when he's up in the vents he can like teleport. So like if you throw because there's other items in this game you can use to distract the enemies. So there's like a noisemaker and there's flashbangs and shit. So like there'd be times where I'd throw one of those items into the other room like away from my objective because that's what you want to try and do. Right?
Yeah.
And so he'd come down and he'd go, screw around with that stuff. But then I'd go down or I'd go into a new area and then he just drops down from the vents again. And there's no way because I didn't hear him go back up in the vents or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like so the game will pull some shit like that. There's also there's a point where I think one of the NPCs makes a joke about because in a couple spots you have to like power up the transit system again so you can get to different parts of the station.
Yeah.
And when you get on this freaking tram, like you're not just like going like down the friggin' hall or whatever. You're just going like a small distance to the next part of the station. Like the tram is taking you like to like huge different sections of the friggin' station, and then like you arrive there and the alien is just there with you. So how the hell does that work? They joke too. They're like, listen, man, that freaking thing is not using the tram to get around. So unlock it so we
obviously,
can move. And it's like, great. I just did all this shit. I avoided him, and now he's just right back here with me in this whole mile away. Like, give me an effing break.
I get it because they just want to keep you on the edge of your seat.
Yeah, I can see that. That's what it is.
But yeah,
come on, give me a break.
Personally didn't really bother me. What did bother me is a lot of people are complaining about the length of the game.
All right, we should.
We'll get into that. So like the length of the game really doesn't bother me. It's like 15 to 20 hours. What does bother me though is near the end of the game, I noticed that like you're doing this unnecessary backtracking. So for example, like I'd be about to go into this section, so I'd see a doorway like and look on the map and I was like, oh, you got to go through this doorway. When I get to that doorway, it's locked. So I go through a bunch of this shit, I guess you could say, and jumping through hoops. And I get there, and it's, the door's locked. So now I have to go all the way back and go to the control room and unlock that door, and then go back and then finally enter it. It's just, adding all that backtracking, then on top of the stress level when you get from the alien, it's just like, oh my god. The story wasn't really progressing. Not that the story is very heavy, but if you're gonna make it 20 hours, like I feel like the story should progress somewhat. I guess that's a pretty big knock on the game.
Definitely, I felt the same way too. So yeah, I mean, you're gonna make a 15-hour game, a 20-hour game, then cool, make a 20-hour game. But yeah, especially with this, where you got these enemies that are just all over you trying to kill your ass.
And they're difficult. They're difficult. Like these enemies are not easy. They're just not like, oh, whatever, F these guys. Like I'm just gonna shoot like.
You're right. That later part of the game definitely felt padded out. That's why I think some people were kind of
Yeah. But there's some, a lot of the major video game journalism publishers who gave them low scores. Like I said, 5.9, 6s, 6.5.
Whose initials start with I and end with GN?
I don't think it really deserves that low of a score.
We'll get to our score here in a minute, but yeah, I agree. That's ridiculous. A 5.9 for this game? No friggin' way. Like, we could spend forever on that and arguing about why. But yeah, why don't we put up our score here and we'll go over what we thought, right? All right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you're the alien or horror survival horror fan, then it's a buy for sure.
Like, I will say, like, the game is good and you should buy it, but like I feel like those ending portion like there was so much backtracking near the end of the game and a
just
fairly good
drags.
portion that it kind of took a decent amount away, decent a lot. Sorry, that doesn't make any sense. Like a lot out of it. I can't even speak.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, with like the graphical issues from my end for the PS3, I just feel like, you know, get your hands on it, play the game, but I would say kind of rent it, but only buy it if you're a huge Alien fan.
Yeah. So that's what it says. Otherwise, it's a rent or a borrow. I mean, I can't slap the general buy across it, because I know there's the guys out there that don't like survival horror games. They're not gonna like, because this is a slower paced thing. You can't just run around and do, like, you gotta take your time. You gotta stealth this shit. It's a friggin' stealth game,
which is another thing.
There's gonna be people that aren't gonna like it for that reason.
That's for me. That's what I liked about it, because this game was based on the film Alien, not Aliens. So I expected a slower paced game, which I like. I think that's why, to me, like, that's why the game was really stood out. It was a slower pace. It was a slower paced game.
So, but having said that, I think they absolutely achieved their goal. They got what they set out. This is all right. So a couple things I had here. Is this the best Alien game they've ever made, or the best Alien game that's ever been released?
Sure, I think so. You know, I haven't played a lot of Alien games.
I'll say yes.
Yeah,
I'll say yes.
I you know, and as far, you know, film to video game franchises, definitely it's even one of the better games that do that too. You know, like I said, they really just captured that atmosphere and that like I said, that slow-paced intensity. But like I said, you know, they did a great job with it. And
couple other things.
Hopefully, we'll see a sequel.
Let's note a couple other things before we wrap up. So some modders. Did you see this? Some modders. There's
with the Oculus Rift,
Oculus support in the game. So some of them are saying, oh, hey, they probably did that because, you know, the Oculus isn't actually released yet. It's still a development kit. So they're saying, oh, when the first commercial version of it comes out and people get it, they're going to say, oh, here, just download this patch. It magically has the support now, but it's already been built in there, and these guys unlocked it. Like, dude, forget that. Dude, forget playing. Like, are you serious? Like, that is going to give people heart attacks and kill people.
Did they have it at E3?
I think they did, but it was just a demo. I don't think it was the full, like, I think Tom played it, actually. But I will tell you this. I'm not playing this with friggin' headphones on. Forget the friggin' Oculus. Are you nuts? Like, dude, no way. Like, can you imagine that?
Yeah,
it's gonna kill people. It's too effing scary. So to wrap up, then, I'm never playing Alien Isolation ever again. Once was enough, but it very, very good.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, because I remember when they announced it, I was like, oh, this is gonna be good. I did not expect it to be that scary. I did not expect it to be what they released, but it's the best Alien game they've ever made. And let's leave it at that.
Yeah.
There you go.